All right, Mitch. So we started working together a few months ago, and you had so you had some symptoms. You were already off the drugs, but you had some specific goals like gaining weight or reducing any kind of pain or any symptoms. And tell me a little bit about your diagnosis and your struggles before we started working together.
Yeah, so I was diagnosed with Crohn's and colitis back in 2013. I was a junior in high school. I mean, that time up to being diagnosed, like the few months before that, 3 or 4 months before that, I was struggling, like extreme pains. I didn't want to eat anything just because of the pain, and then obviously, running to the bathroom and whatnot was part of the deal as well. Um, and it took many trips to the doctor to figure out what it was, but eventually I was diagnosed. Got on tons of different medicines, tons of prednisone, to try to kick that inflammation out. For a little while, the meds worked. Not, I didn't never felt as good as I am now, but the meds worked for a little while. Eventually, I was on Imuran for I don't know, 4 years or so.
And they diagnosed you with, was it UC or was it Crohn's?
Crohn's.
Crohn's. They diagnosed you with Crohn's. Okay.
Crohn's. I also had ulcer issues as well, but
Yeah.
Crohn's was.
But that's what the doctor said. Yeah.
Yeah. So on Imuran for about 4 years or so, and decided that I went through a flare-up. It was last spring. I went through a flare-up and got on some prednisone because I didn't really know what else to do in that situation. And the inflammation did, subside. And after that, the doctor was trying to get me on Humira, but I kind of decided to try doing it naturally for a little while. And it was during the summer is when I tried doing it naturally, and I was at home, so things were easy. I had a routine down. I knew what I needed to do. I still dealt with some issues, but I think the prednisone also kind of helped those issues go away too.
Yeah.
Then once I got off the prednisone and off everything, came back to school and I started feeling more symptoms. I wasn't able to do the things that most college kids could do without feeling symptoms and going through pain and whatnot. And so then saw you online and reached out to you, and that's where the journey started.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I remember talking to you, and I remember you just hearing that you already had a positive mindset. You had already put things into place. You really wanted it, and you were thinking about your solutions. You were telling me all these solutions you already had, and I felt like I could feed off you because you were already like really moving in the right direction. You were saying, "Man, Dan, I'm eating like this. I'm doing, I'm working like this. I'm keeping my mind healthy. I'm creating a program for myself already, but I'm just kind of missing a few pieces. I feel like I just need some structure in there." And I just felt like, I felt so convicted that I was going to be able to give you some of that structure you were looking for. Because we both, had, been diagnosed with Crohn's disease and fought for our health and our freedoms. So I felt very, strong. And I think, so when we started working together, it seemed like you did pretty well really quickly. I mean, what were some of the changes you saw the first 2 weeks to 4 weeks?
Yeah. So I mean, well, first of all, up to the point where I started working with you, I was feeling symptoms pretty consistently. Whether that was like every day or every other day, it was pretty consistent. And it was rare for me to go a day without experiencing symptoms. So just a little background before we get into the time we worked together. So as I started working with you, I think, first of all, you're extremely knowledgeable on this type of condition. I mean, you had it, so
Thank you.
you know all about it. So I think that was like a first step was just gaining more knowledge about what I had. Obviously, I knew what I had, but there was a little, I was a little cloudy or hazy on, what exactly triggered inflammation, what caused the inflammation, why did I feel a certain way, and when I felt that way, and so on and so forth. So I think the knowledge and the information about Crohn's and colitis was, that first benefit I think I got from working with you. And secondly, was obviously my health got better. I was starting to feel better. Before I started working with you, I was tired like every day. Like being tired was like a normal thing to me. I would work out almost every day, but it was a struggle to do it, and I never got motivated to do it. But I kind of just pushed myself through it. I started to notice energy levels would come back. and then I wouldn't have urgency going to the bathroom. The bowel movements kind of got smaller and smaller as the days go by, and I was able to eat certain foods and not feel discomfort afterwards. So there was that like process, or the methods to know what to do and when to do it. Obviously you have to be strict for a little while, I think, to reduce at least some of the inflammation. Be strict with your diet and know exactly what you can eat and what you can't. But I mean, like you always say, the goal is to get to a point where you're able to, bend a little bit, not break, but bend a little bit and have some flexibility. To do certain things, drink certain things, eat certain things. And so I think, the methods, whether it be certain shakes and smoothies or supplements, that was obviously a huge benefit, a huge value from working with you. And I think lastly is positive encouragement. You were not always did I have someone who really understood what I was going through, what I was feeling, and having someone with as much knowledge as you, who I could, talk to, whatever it was, an hour and a half on the phone, discuss what I'm going through, and you had exact methods, exact advice for what I should do in those moments, and then it was just positivity behind it. The fact that you stress that you're gonna have to have discipline, you're gonna have to have willpower, but it's completely doable. So I'd say those three things were huge for me from the time we started working together, and it's really what changed my health.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, man. And you were such an easy person to work with because, as I say, you had such a healthy mindset and you were ready to go, and all I had to do was give you the tools, and you took them and you ran with them. And I think you'll continue to run with that in life and always be a solution-oriented, optimistic person. But, I mean, throughout the time, you've been able to, get rid of your blood, like any kind of blood problems, that's gone, right? Any kind of pain or bloating or urgency, that's gone. You're not even thinking about taking any drugs, even though you weren't on drugs at the beginning, but now it's like there really is no reason. You've gained 15 pounds of lean body mass and muscle working out every single day. It seems like you've doubled your energy. And, you didn't have to touch a shot or a drug or really change anything except your day-to-day lifestyle and mindset. And also, I'd say the last question is, how hard do you think it was? One of my biggest fears when I started was when I was reading about natural medicine, it seemed like I did these insane diets that were just completely not manageable. Hey, take pureed carrots for 3 days and then drink bone broth for 3 or 4 days straight, eat nothing, and then you got to do all these just intense things that really were just completely life debilitating. Did you ever feel like you were trapped in this program?
Oh no, absolutely not. I did not feel trapped. I really didn't even feel that limited. First of all, I like taking care of my body and eating healthy to begin with. So that helps the cause. But no, I think first of all, the advice or the program that you provided me was one where I was satisfied. My palate was satisfied in terms of the food that I got to eat. And I got to a point where I was able to, every once in a while, whether I wanted to eat that hamburger, I was able to do it, and without feeling, extreme symptoms, or I'm out with my friends and I want to have a drink or two, I was able to do it. And that's because I had, you had given me the advice or the knowledge of other, methods behind what you should do in order to get to that point. And if maybe you do experience some symptoms, you have a set thing to do to reverse it or to kind of mitigate them as much as possible.
Exactly.
So no, I did not feel restricted. I didn't feel, like it was difficult for me to follow the program. It was very, very easy.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of us hitting a home run. Not everyone's going to get those results where they can just, change a few things, get these flexibilities, and then kind of go with it. You had a lot of build-up before I got there, so I think you were able to blast off. But, the fact that you could have a drink of alcohol and be okay, or have even a hamburger with, a bun and maybe a french fry or two and be okay. Is it perfect? No. But are you going to recover and be able to live life and not have major symptoms from this and adverse effects? No, you're not going to have those. And that's what's amazing. It's not just about saying, I'm going to live perfectly and then I'm going to have this Buddhist type lifestyle of never doing anything. like we were able to, bring back our freedoms. And I always say to people, it's not always about doing what's perfectly healthy for you. It's about doing things that bring you freedom in your life. So that if you choose you don't want to drink alcohol or you don't want to eat a certain way, it's because you don't want to, not because you have the fear of having, like, being stuck in a hospital or bleeding,
Yeah.
and being stuck in a toilet all night. We want to get that point that we really rebuild the mucosal lining in our gut, and have some freedoms just like everyone else in this world. And I think that's what you got, and I think you deserve it, and you worked hard. So thanks, man. I appreciate your time, and you can always call me whenever you need help, and keep rocking, man.
Awesome, man. Thank you. I appreciate everything you've done for me. It's been a great time working with you.
All right, thanks, brother.